President Sadat has carefully reviewed all these remaining issues and has accepted these same proposals.
We're at Camp David in the US on September 17th, 1978, where two sworn enemies are about to make history in a way the world never thought possible. On one side stands President Anwar Sadat, representing Egypt. On the other stands Prime Minister Menachem Begin, representing Israel. And standing between them, after days of intense negotiations, is US President Jimmy Carter, determined to broker a peace. You see, for decades, Egypt and Israel had fought a series of bloody wars. Both sides had lost tens of thousands of soldiers. Entire cities had been scarred by the fighting. Families on both sides had lived through years of fear and loss. By 1978, millions of people had grown up believing that peace between the two nations was simply impossible. Yet today, the impossible is about to happen. Standing before the world's cameras, Anwar Sadat, Jimmy Carter, and Menachem Begin step forward and shake hands. Moments later, Sadat signs an agreement that will eventually lead to the first peace treaty ever signed between Israel and an Arab nation. Around the world, the agreement is celebrated. Newspapers call it a historic breakthrough. World leaders praise Sadat for choosing diplomacy over war. The following year, he receives the Nobel Peace Prize. But back home, the reaction is very different. Many believe Anwar Sadat has just signed his own death warrant. Many Egyptians support his decision. They believe their country has sacrificed enough and that peace is long overdue. Others, especially hardline Islamists and nationalist extremists, see something entirely different. To them, Sadat hasn't made peace. He has betrayed Egypt, the Arab world, and the Palestinian cause. Almost overnight, one of the Middle East's most respected leaders becomes one of its most hated. And over the next 3 years, that single signature quietly turns Anwar Sadat into the target of a deadly assassination plot. It's October 6th, 1981. Cairo is buzzing. Today marks the 8th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, and Egypt is putting on one of its biggest military parades yet. Tanks rumble down the streets. Soldiers march in perfect formation. Fighter jets roar overhead. High above it all, seated at the center of the reviewing stand, is President Anwar Sadat. He's dressed in full military uniform, his chest covered in medals, proudly watching the parade unfold before him. At that moment, Anwar Sadat looks completely untouchable. He's surrounded by senior military commanders, government ministers, and layers of personal security. But what Sadat doesn't know is that some of the men who want him dead are wearing the very same uniform as the soldiers marching before him. They've been waiting for this moment. So the ceremony continues. Tank after tank passes the reviewing stand. Sadat leans forward, quietly enjoying the spectacle. Then, one of the military trucks suddenly breaks formation and brakes hard directly in front of the grandstand. At first, nobody reacts. It's a military parade. Army vehicles are supposed to stop. For a few seconds, everything seems perfectly normal. Then suddenly, the back of the truck bursts open. Several soldiers jump out. Some leap down from the roof. They begin sprinting straight toward the reviewing stand. At first, Sadat doesn't sense any danger. Believing they're about to perform part of the ceremony, he stands up and returns their salute. Their commander, Lieutenant Khalid al-Islambouli, shouts at the top of his lungs, "Death to Pharaoh!" Almost instantly, the soldiers hurl grenades toward the reviewing stand. Explosions rip through the grandstand, filling the air with smoke. Then they raise their rifles. Seconds later, automatic gunfire tears into President Sadat and everyone around him. The reviewing stand erupts into panic. People scream. Ministers and generals throw themselves to the ground. Chairs overturn. Bodyguards scramble for cover as bullets rip through the air. Sadat's security team freezes. For a few critical seconds, no one knows how to respond. That hesitation proves fatal. Bullets tear through the reviewing stand. Unlike almost everyone around him, Sadat never takes cover. He remains standing. Within seconds, he's struck multiple times in the chest and neck. He collapses backward into his chair, blood soaking through his uniform. A handful of security guards finally return fire. But it's already too late. In less than 2 minutes, the President of Egypt has been mortally wounded at the very parade held to celebrate one of his greatest military victories. By the time the shooting ends, 11 people are dead. Dozens more are wounded. Sadat is rushed to Mahdi Military Hospital. Doctors fight to save him. 2 hours later, he's pronounced dead. The assassins make no attempt to escape. They're arrested at the scene. During his trial, Lieutenant Khalid al-Islam Bouli openly admits to leading the attack, declaring that he killed Sadat because he believed the president had betrayed Islam. He and the other conspirators are later sentenced to death and executed by firing squad. Sadat's assassination sends shockwaves across Egypt and the Middle East. Millions mourn the loss of the man who made peace with Israel. Others quietly celebrate his death. Within days, Vice President Hosni Mubarak, who survives the attack by taking cover, is sworn in as Egypt's new president. He will remain in power for nearly 30 years. Anwar Sadat believed peace would secure his legacy and bring lasting stability to Egypt. Instead, the decision that earned him the Nobel Peace Prize also turned him into a target. And on the day Egypt gathered to celebrate one of its greatest military victories, Anwar Sadat was killed by his own soldiers,